I am a psychic medium. That's what I do for work. Welcome to the Messages from Heaven television show. My name is Anne LoCicero, and I have been working in Connecticut as a psychic medium since 1994. My job, I often think about like what exactly is it with the mediumship? That's my job, and all I know is that there is an afterlife. I don't care what you call it. I call it heaven. There's no other better word for me. I can't think of a better word. I mean,
the funniest, I can't even, I'm sorry, it's just so funny that Tim, he would be like, he didn't believe in this kind of stuff at all. Like, he was just like,
really?
Adamant, yeah.
Oh no, he's flying through with flying.
He's got
this great. My goal is to present raw, uncut, and unedited live readings on camera for you. I'll be doing this by presenting and sharing with you messages from heaven. Let me inspire you with the reality of mediumship. Hello and welcome to Messages from Heaven. I am your host, psychic medium Anne LoCicero, and I am so happy to have you here. We are here once again to present to you some raw, unedited, and absolutely wonderful mediumship. I hope. I mean, when something's unedited and it's uncut, you never know what's going to happen, especially when you have guests on like I have on today, because these people are going to be so fun to interview. And then, of course, somebody I don't know is with them, and I get to read them. And already, some of the lights in the studios were blinking. So I have a feeling that these loved ones are going to come through today loud and strong and excited. I hope you guys are ready. Let's get ourselves settled in so I can introduce to you today my friends. I'm so excited. Okay. Messages from Heaven is really about bringing in people I know. Usually it's one person, and having them bring in two people I don't know. But I could not have Mary on without Wyatt.
Thank you, Rebecca.
I can't have you guys. You're both my friends. So there is this huge connection for me where I may know who you are outside of meeting you, like in having our interaction, which I'm going to tell you guys all about. But I've met you guys together. You two together are always going to be a part of my heart. And you brought with you your best friend?
Yes.
Nadine. Nope. Nadia.
Yes.
Nadia. They've only just met her, so Nadia it is. So Nadia, and this is Mary Lambert. And this is, if I looked it up correctly, this is Dr. Wyatt. Okay, wait, I'm going to try. Hermanson.
Yes, you nailed it.
I love it.
You nailed it.
I know. And you guys got married, and I'll never forget because it was like my favorite number, so it was 10, 22, 22. Yes. So I'm just shouting that out. I'll always remember because I always take 22s in. So I'm going to tell people how I met you. And if anybody doesn't know who Mary Lambert is, oh, go Google her. You'll find out at the end. But this in particular episode and having you on is kind of like a thank you because you had me on. Right?
Yes. We were delighted to have you on our podcast.
It was so special.
Actually, two-parter. You were on. We had to split it into two episodes because it was so rich with stuff that we wanted people to hear.
So I'm in my email, and I have an assistant that helps me filter some of my email, and I go into this waiting list folder to see kind of what was put in, and it was, hey, we have a podcast. It's the Manic Episodes. Do you want to come on? And my first thought is, I don't care who this is or what they're doing. I need to be on the Manic Episodes. I am so manic all the time. I have manic family. I have diagnosed manic family. I have manic just for fun. And I'm like, what would Manic Episodes be about? So I'm like, okay, so I pull it over. And I think that my first response to you was, hey, your your email was put aside. You're still on my waiting list. Love to be on your podcast. I hadn't even looked you up yet. Okay?
I didn't know that.
Right? For real? But you were so excited. She was telling me how excited. I was like, I am so doing this. I am so doing this. So we connected because you guys do this podcast where you tackle all kinds of topics that are out of the norm and unusual. And I gave you guys a reading at my house with my dogs. And we had a great time. We had a great reading. Then we had a great, episode doing podcasts. I love podcasts. And but my original thought was you guys should come here so we could do it all at once. But because Spirit knows what Spirit has to do, isn't it weird the way it has to do that, right? You had to be here. And that wouldn't have happened if we were doing it in a different scenario. Do you know what I mean? So I always think that everything needs to come through and needs to be connected for a reason. So I'm being told you're going to be mad because the first thing that I just heard about you was, this is going to sound so funny, do not be mad. I feel like Spirit said, she's older than she looks.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm not trying to guess your age. I'm not trying to psychically ask anybody what your age is, but I think I felt a mom figure or a mother connection, which means to me it would either be mom or a grandmother crossed that wants to come through and say hi and is talking about you. Do you have a mom crossed?
No.
Okay, that's fine, but this mom's mom in spirit.
Yes.
Okay, so she's the first person that's going to come through, but it is absolutely nobody that I have written on this paper for you because I had already had some things written down. But I find it interesting that this kind of an energy steps in and says she's older than you think, she's older than she looks, because they were trying to get me to realize that you have some sort of how can I put this? Some sort of an understanding or a maturity that is I guess either was put upon you or was brought upon you by this grandmother. Does that make sense?
In a sense, yeah.
Were they close to you?
No.
No, that's fine. You can say no. Okay. I like I said, that had absolutely nothing with what I had written down, but it had to do with just me making sure, like, just include her in the conversation. I was like, okay, I will. How long have you known Nadia?
I think like 10 years.
Yeah, well, 9.5.
Yeah.
Or no, 9.
Very technical.
I think. Very exact. Because it was 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. The details.
Yeah, you're right.
And to me, it has it's a really strong friendship. It goes deeper than just friends. It almost feels like it's family. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Like we should be sisters or something along those lines?
Yes.
Okay, so
sure.
you're just a protector then. Like, I don't know, maybe you're the bodyguard or something. But that kind of is where I, like the person, is so that, funny. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. All right, if you're a cop, I'm going to laugh my ass off. God. All right, or a bodyguard and legit, we'll just say. But no, but it makes sense. All right, I have to just go back because I wrote some notes and I wanted to make sure that I asked you a couple of questions.
Okay.
Not you, her, but that's okay. But just because. So here's what happens. The premise of this show is for me to have some sort of logical conversation and to try to pay attention to the conversation without scrolling all over the place before I get into reading. And the reason I do that is because I have to literally wait for Spirit to wait for Spirit to be ready to interject and kind of take over the show. So even though my intention is to read you, Spirit literally could wake up to any one of us, really. But it better come through for just you, because that's what the goal is, just so you know. And I already know that this grandmother is standing there saying hi. I believe she kind of looks like you. I think you're probably taking on the maternal side of the family, because if anything, she looks like you, too. So there's a very direct genetic connection. And being adopted myself, I don't always get to say that. Do you know what I mean? Okay. I know that not only do you do everything that you do, you sing, you write music, you have spoken word, you have books, you have a beautiful podcast, and in addition to all of that, I read you play cello.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have a cello?
Yeah.
Okay, so I at some point in time hopefully will be able to hear you play cello because I find that fascinating. And I wanted to reference to you that the reason why that caught my eye is because there are certain notes and certain sounds in music where I play music, like we were singing before you came in, right? I play music to keep loved ones away. The sound of music, the the megahertz, the vibration is a disruption in the energy around me where I don't speak to your loved ones while music is playing. Oh. So if you're singing, I can't read. Oh. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. What a beautiful space it is for me as a human that has a constant awareness of vibration speaking to me, that when somebody does play music that I don't, cello, violins, twangy guitars, keep spirit away the loudest. So I can't wait to chill out with some cello.
You get some peace. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it happens.
And I'm biased, but the cello is just a sexy instrument, I think.
Okay, you're allowed to be biased about that. That just happens. Okay, so you guys have had a reading with me. Everything's still good after that? Are you still, because...
It was actually an incredible, I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
That's okay.
Rebecca. It was incredible actually that like, I felt that it sort of unfolded. There was the initial session, but it actually took me, I'm still actually kind of excavating what happened, like little nuggets of like what you said where I'll be like, that's where that connection is, or like that's what Rebecca was talking about, or that's what Rebecca sensed, or that's what that number meant, or that color meant. Like, so it's been really interesting that it didn't all come out in the reading. It's like I kept having to kind of pick through it in my mind. The significance just goes so deep. So, oh my gosh, it was incredible.
Things that I would never get, right? Things that made sense on the level.
Oh, yeah.
But once you got into it, you understood it more.
Absolutely.
So fun.
And I had a little bit of a wall up too. Like I think I went into it with
I wouldn't know
a little
anything
bit of a
about
wall.
that. You have a wall up too.
Yeah.
A huge wall up. Well, it's just because I feel like I really don't want to give you any pain or give you any hurt. And you're like, I'm going to be on TV. I don't care if it's public access. I'm not crying. I'm not messing up my makeup, right? Fine. I get it. But it's true. There are those after effects, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. One more thing I have to ask you about is like totally, I'm going to call it fangirl, but it's not. And I'm almost embarrassed to ask, but I have to. I want to know how you felt when you were singing on stage at the Grammys with Madonna. Yes, that's what I want to know. Now you know people that are watching this show on public access TV will be like, who's Mary Lambert? Okay. What's this manic episodes that they're, okay, who's Rebecca? Okay, thank you. What did you do? Now, I am a Gen Xer. Mm-hmm. So I had a Madonna cassette that I played on my little pink, okay. So tell me, I gotta know.
I mean, it was surreal. It felt like a wedding. It felt like a wedding day. You know what I mean? It was just like.
But I love hearing it.
It was also really emotional, just like thinking about the scope of what we were doing, and that this was like, it was a mass wedding of 33 people, 33 couples, and being able to sing. Like, I remember recording the lyrics and the melody that I had written, and then teaching it to Madonna, and being like. And then like standing next to her and being like, everybody's singing these
song.
These words, song. You know, it was like really surreal.
Which is your song. Even though it was a piece of a song, that is your song. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to say that, you know, there are some times in my life where people will say to me, you know, well, tell me something exciting, like what's the most exciting thing about your work? In my mind, just to go to a completely graphic and low place, one of my highlights is like reading somebody who crossed traumatically, saving somebody else's life, you know. They may not be like a name person, but you know, this one stopped like a van pulling into people, and this one like may have jumped in front. And then I sit here and I'm like, yeah, but she's sang with Madonna. So it really just doesn't matter. It really just doesn't matter.
It's all about perspective.
And I didn't mean to like zone in on that one particular thing, but I think that will give people a lot of opportunity. I mean, for me, when I, you know, because I know that you are a huge advocate in the LGBTQ. Fine. So for me, I look at that and I think, well, it's not just huge, but you have done so many different things. I mean, there were things that you did, Hands for Orlando. You're connected to 1946. Like you're just all over the place making everything good for people, right? So here's how I feel right now. Enough about that. Now it's going to be all about Nadia.
Oh my goodness.
The Madonna thing is what when I introduce Mary to people, that's the first thing I say. I'm like, she sang with Madonna at the Grammys. Because everybody is like, wait a minute, what? Like, it's the attention getter.
And see, here I am. That's the one thing that stood out to me. I was
good.
like, yes.
Yes. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up recording the Grammys on VHS.
Wow.
So I have a collection.
Cool.
So,
That's so
I have
cool.
Madonna on VHS. So you're just saying, Madonna. Hi. What I had written down was Dad. Is Dad crossed?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say to you, oh, here comes the grandmother, I kind of sat here like, wait a minute, I wasn't ready to talk about the grandmother. Why did you just come in? She would be somebody who I would consider to be nosy, wants to get her 2 cents in. Does your mom know that you were coming by any chance?
She does.
Then I absolutely think that the reason she came through was to give you the okay. I'm not saying that it was like a religious thing. I'm not saying anything other than I think that your mother's side of the family is a very good judge of character. So I'm going to take it as an honor that this woman seemed to say that it was okay for me to talk to you by coming in first. But the things that I had written down, and honestly, I started feeling some of this at home. I think I felt your dad with me very early today. I was starting to get ready, and he was like, "You're not wearing that, are you?" And I was like, "Well, who are you to tell me what to wear?" Just so you know, he had a very an awareness of what people look like, how they presented themselves. Does this make sense to you?
In a
Are
way,
you,
yeah.
Yeah, in a
Yeah.
way. Okay, well, kind of pregnant, don't cut it for me. You know what I'm saying? So he can't be in a way.
He had a lot to say.
He had a lot to say, so
About other
he would be
people.
opinionated about
For
what I was
sure.
going to say. Okay, 2 letters stood out to me: a D and an E. Do either of those connect for you?
My brother's name is
A D,
E.
the E. Okay, and is your brother also in spirit, or is he here?
No, he's here.
Okay, good. I don't kill people, so that's good.
Great.
Okay. It's not that I want to stay focused just on Dad, but if he's going to bring up your brother, that's okay, right? I think there's more than just 2 of you, though, isn't there?
Just 2.
Okay. Well, he's bringing up somebody else then. So we're mom and him together.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've already okay, I understand. Okay. And where did the D sound come in? Would it be somebody who's still, well, obviously, your brother is living. but
Right. My mom's father's name began with a D.
Fine. We're just going to say we're going to connect those 2 together. And then here's what I hear your dad going. He says, just be okay.
Yeah.
And I said, what else should I tell her? And he goes, to be okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I was like, well, what else can I say? He goes, tell her she's my sunshine and for her to be okay. And I was like, this is going to be an incredibly boring reading. So are you okay? Because I feel like we need to know if you're okay. Yeah. Okay. He feels as if you've put yourself in the right positions at the right times. And he almost feels like he would call you lucky. So would you consider yourself lucky in work? I don't want to say you landed a job without hard work, because that's not how it works. But did you find yourself in the right place at the right time?
Multiple times.
Multiple
with
times.
Jobs. Yeah.
Thank you. And he says it specifically with work.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he said, he almost gives me he's like, can you tell her to thank me? I'm like, for what?
For what?
For what? Is there an R sound? That's too many letters for me. Thank you. Is there a Robert somewhere? No. Or Ron? R-O.
No.
Okay, that's fine. You can say no. I feel the R, a definite strong R. But we were talking about work, and I don't think so, but let me ask. I get quirky. Is there a dog?
Do I have a dog?
Dad is talking about there being a dog.
He loved dogs.
Okay, so is
Yeah.
this a new dog in your world?
No.
Well, it's a dog.
They
he
have
must-
dogs that I love.
I love dogs.
Yeah.
I have a dog. Your dad is talking to me about a dog. Okay. I think it might be a black dog. Does this make sense to you?
In a way, a dog that he had up
Right.
until he passed, he was It was black and gray.
Black and gray. Is this dog passed as well?
Yeah,
Just
after him.
know that this dog is right here next to your dad. I'm going to say your dad is with me. Like, he's like, hey, what are we doing? Hey. Like, he really thinks this is fascinating. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, kind of.
Not his thing. It's not what he did. I don't think he was a TV guy. I just think that this is fascinating for him. He would do whatever he could. He said he probably couldn't do this without new shoes. I don't know what that means.
Okay. He really liked footwear.
He does? Okay,
he really
so-
loved his clogs. He wore clogs a lot. I don't know if that's too much information.
It's not that it's too much, but I feel like he would have needed new shoes to come on. So if he really loved footwear, then me needing new shoes would be really important. And it would also go along with the way I felt when I was getting dressed. He's like, is that what you're wearing? What do you So there was definitely something about him having like new things or a new presentation or a new connection. Does that make sense?
In a way, yeah. When he wanted to look nice.
He got sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, he shows me. I'm sorry. He's like, oh, I didn't feel good. And I go, so you went to the doctor? He's like, no. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He did. But
I pause only because you're not supposed to have what they call like dead air when I'm doing things like this. But I pause because he makes me feel like leaving you and your brother and your mother was not something he fought. So he's telling me I got sick, but I fought. And then he shows me that he can't. Okay, it's common for us not to be able to communicate. But he's like, I really can't, Rebecca. He's like telling me that he could not give you words.
yeah, towards the end.
But he thinks you understood. So he's like, I was still there. I just couldn't speak.
Yeah.
So it's worse. It's not like he was lying there and not having any motion or anything, like sleeping or an induced coma. He's saying, I could look at her. I just couldn't speak. And he just makes me feel like he wants you to know that he heard every word you were saying. And he feels, I'll tell her, he says he feels like he slipped away and it was no pain at all. He just was able to slip away. Does that make sense? So he said there wasn't a big dramatic thing when I was able to slip away. It was okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Were you younger? I mean, it was definitely more than a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay, was it more than 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I keep going, I just feel like I want you to be younger. He says, she was so much younger then. Yeah. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, because your mother-in-law already came through and said she looks older than she looks. So I'm like, stop talking about this woman's age to me. It is apparently mysteries, right? Okay. Where are the three? So you're not one of three, you're only one of two. Do you have children?
No.
Okay, so where are the three? Because I hear, is dad one of three, is what I should probably say.
He found out when he was 16 that he was.
One of three. Okay, so he's pointing that out as if it's very important then. Well, drama back then, fine, whatever, but
It affected him for sure,
but it's very important to him. Was it a brother? Did he find out he had a brother out there or something?
He found out when he was 16 that his father had 2 children from a previous marriage.
Okay.
That his grandmother wouldn't let my grandfather.
Gotcha.
Drama. So he secretly would see them. Yeah.
And he didn't find out till he was 16.
Yeah.
But to me, I feel like he's coming through and he's pointing out that there's 3 because he wants to give you validation that he's okay.
When you say 3, I think of me and my mom and my brother immediately.
I can honor that.
Yeah.
The only reason I can say that's not it is because I have to feel it inside, and he wanted to make sure that you knew that he had peace with the siblings. If it was something that you knew bothered him when he was here, he would bring it up to me as something that he's peaceful about now. I've heard you twice already. He's not being clear to me about dates, but dates usually equal birth dates, death dates, and anniversaries. So we don't have death dates. Got it? You know, those, like, don't let anybody tell you that. They're full of, you know what? I'll ask her that too. You like the rain? You love the rain.
Yeah.
Is that a sign? The rain? I swear to God, he just put me outside in a rainstorm. So I don't know if that's where you connect to him or what that's about.
I like to fall asleep listening to rain.
To the rain. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's literally connecting with you, probably at night, because you're listening to the rain, and I feel like I'm indoors getting rained on. That would make sense. So the rain. Not that I'm telling you he's haunting you at night before you go to bed, but he absolutely is. Okay. If we need to get a little further into your room, we will, but that's none of my business. It's just the fun part of my job, closets, drawers, under the bed. I'm just kidding. He's not looking in your spots. We're not remote viewing anywhere tonight.
It's good to know.
I understand, but you didn't give me a clear month. He hasn't given me a clear date to give you. I feel like he's saying March 11th. He's giving me March. Is March a connection?
Yeah.
Is the 11th a connection in a different month?
No.
What does March connect with him, though? Okay, so he uses March to connect with himself. I'm not sure why the 11 comes through. That could be November. Nope, you would know right away. Or you wouldn't know right away and figure it out later. But no, we'll say no. I just know he's showing me March, but I feel like he was showing me the number 11 as well. So I want to give that to you, whether it's right or wrong. I told you it wasn't 11. Like him and I argued. Did he wear a tie?
No.
Okay, so tell me why I see ties, striped ties or striped shirts.
He had a lot of ties for some reason. He grew up.
Okay, he shows me fat ties or ties with stripes to the side. So did he have to wear them? Is this what, church?
No.
School?
No. I don't know if I can
Why
give
he
you this
wears
information.
ties?
He grew up going to private school.
Okay.
So, but
He had to wear the ties?
He didn't have to wear them as an adult unless it was like a formal
That's fine.
occasion.
Well, I don't know why he would bring that up exactly.
I don't know.
But it feels exciting.
Yeah.
Is he musical also?
No, he loved listening.
Is music a sign? Because he gives me a song.
Music a sign like that I
If
affiliate
you hear a
with
song,
him?
yeah, if you hear a
yeah.
certain song, you're going to think of him, right?
Yes, a couple.
Okay. Well, then he has to be more specific than just guitar, because he just put a guitar on my lap.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, it could be anything. Elvis, Johnny Cash. I'm like, who
I know
played?
what you're talking
You
about.
do?
Yeah.
I love that you know already, and I
Yeah.
don't. I literally am holding the guitar,
Yeah.
whoever's guitar this is.
Yeah.
And wow, I feel like I'm holding somebody's guitar, and I don't know who. But it's a song. It's the song that he's saying that this is important. And when you hear this or when you see this, you think of him. Does that make sense? Okay. I understand. Just Dad. Where's my J sound? J James, J Jim, J. Who's the J?
My mom's partner. His
Okay.
name is Jay.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to just say your dad's very happy. I feel like I was saying J because it was a very good thing, just so you know. Is that the music?
Yeah.
Does he play music?
Yeah, he's a sound
And
engineer.
he's a sound engineer. Thank you. You didn't have to feed me that one, but
Sorry.
I got you. Okay.
Sorry.
So Jay does sound. And has Jay been around a long time? Not to be weird, but I feel like you know his mom.
No, but he has been around a long time.
Okay, just so you know, his family supports you guys as well, just his ancestor.
Cool.
Moms. Oh, wait, maybe that's your mom's mom again. Boy, she's kind of,
My grandmother.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, nosy.
I can see that. I mean, kind of.
Lila?
Lisa.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Who's that? The grandmother?
My grandmother.
Lisa!
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I
Yeah.
got to say this. I go, are you holding my hand? And whoever is here, which I think is your dad, goes, no, that's So Lisa, oh, fun. Fun. Grounded. Be grounded. Be grounded. Be grounded. Oh, you have to constantly remind yourself of that? Okay, so I just need to finish with Dad really likes Jay. Glad he's around. Talks about the guitar. Talks about Jay being connected to music because I wanted the dad energy to be connected to music, so respects it on all levels. And then I feel like he led into that from is it country?
No.
Then I don't know. I'm really curious. What is it?
The song is Blackbird by the Beatles. That was my
Beatles.
parents' like song. So anytime I hear a guitar, I think of that.
Got it.
Yeah. But Jay plays guitar as a
I
musician.
have played Blackbird many, 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 many times. Hugest Beatles fan on the earth. Here Comes the Sun was just playing
Right.
when you came out, so we already hit the Beatles.
Right.
Okay, good. All right. The other things that I felt like I wanted to say was that I feel like when he was coming through to give love to your brother, remember how I go, yeah, walls up, walls up. I'm already on the inside. That doesn't bother me at all. Your dad and your brother must have really gotten along well. They must have been close because your dad says, I never left him. When we cross over, we can be everywhere all at once. So for him to say, I never left you either, no matter where you two are, he can be with both of you. But he says that your brother had a hard time feeling like dad left him. And he hopes he's given him enough signs. And he shows me like hawks and a lot of them. Hawks, birds, feathers, things outside. I think your brother knows this already. Does that make sense?
In a way, yeah.
Does he look to signs like that? Do you know? Cardinals is number one, but
I think
go ahead.
my mom does in a big way and
Okay.
always shares with us. And I think
Any signs that come?
a lot, especially animals.
I
And
see hawks first, just
Okay.
so you know. I don't know why. It's just very prominent today.
yeah. My brother, I don't talk to him as much. He definitely has noted like weird coincidences before.
I love
but
those.
on the whole, he's more cynical, I would say.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Cynical, skeptic, all of those are okay.
Having kids
because-
has made him soften. I
Well,
think.
when something happens, all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what that was. And then the more but I feel like your dad constantly tries to get in at him and tries to get things going and get things connected, right? What's with the circus? Does that make sense?
The circus.
Is that a connection to you or is that a connection for you, Wyatt?
I don't know.
Is there a connection to a circus somewhere? I feel like I'm literally in a circus tent or in a circus somewhere.
I mean, I have taken circus classes before, and I love Cirque du Soleil. I would like be a
Okay, no,
circus
wait. Listen.
performer
Okay.
in another life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here. You've taken circus class. They have circus classes.
I took
right?
like a slapstick class at my mom's theater when I was little.
Okay, come on. You can't tell me that's not the best thing.
It was really fun. We got to throw pies. It was really fun. Yeah.
So would this be a good memory that your dad could bring up that you would be able to connect with? Was he around then?
He wasn't there when the class, he was present in my life.
Well, that's what I'm saying because he makes me feel like he's been gone for so long that he's like, do you still want to be in the circus? And I'm like, why are we in the circus all of a sudden?
Yeah.
So if he's trying to just give me flashback memories to say, this is where we've been, this is where we've done. And then can you also tell me what is with okay, so I've said that already. The last thing I feel like, where's the rock? If it's not Robert or Ronald or something, is it Rocky? R-O. You're going to say no. That's okay. Do any of you understand that? Say it. Mary, you have been so quiet. I have to say I'm pretty impressed.
I mean, there's an R in his name.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an R in my name, too.
I can't think of any R names in my family, really.
No, it's okay. I swear it feels more like a pet. Or Rocky. Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. But that's okay. And I've written it down a couple of times just as far as trying to understand where that comes in. I don't know. It's just crazy. Did you expect your dad to come through?
I wanted him to.
Did you have signs from him earlier today too?
Not that I noticed, no.
I mean, I was literally standing in my kitchen and I was like, okay, let's go. It's time to go. As I was walking out the door, I'm like, get in the car. We've
Yeah.
got to get there.
Yeah.
You know, I know that he's already with you. I also wonder sometimes, like, could it be because you guys were already in the car on the way here, right? Because I had a reading yesterday, and the people who came had actually come the day before. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden their loved one was there. So I text them. I'm like, confirming for tomorrow. They're like, oh, we're in town. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe having having you travel and having that excitement happening and having that come through, it brings him into also coming in to say hi earlier as well. Here's the other thing that he's showing me. Fine. I love you. I'm here. I'm watching over you. I love your mom. And yes, I got sick. And but there's something missing about his personality that he kind of seems like he's candy coating himself to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I want to say what a nice guy, and I have a hard time getting these words out of my mouth. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so just stop there.
Okay.
Did he drink?
No.
Okay.
Well,
Or he did and then stopped? Or okay. And was he a smoker also? Okay. And did he just kind of have like a bit of a I want to be as polite as I possibly can. Can I call him cranky? Yeah? I mean, if I want it, can I call him a donkey's ass?
sometimes, yeah.
I don't want to be mean about him because he doesn't want anything connected to you and him to have any scars or any bad marks because he feels like you and him have already dealt with all of that. But at the same token, he just wants you to know that he's trying. And he kind of makes me upset. Because for as long as he's been gone, he asks me if this can be the first step to you feeling more connected to him.
Yeah.
Have you purposely pushed him away?
It's the hardest thing I've ever. This is the measure for any loss, any change, any
He's the worst.
measure of grief. This is like nothing will ever feel as bad as this feels, save for meeting the love of my life and them dying. But
it doesn't matter if it was yesterday or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, right? Oh yeah, coming to see Rebecca, a lot of fun, right? Yeah, guys, see? Mary's probably like, sure, come, it's gonna be, she's so hyper, she's so fun. She's gonna tell you all kinds of good stuff. Oh, your dad's gone. Yeah. Okay. Where I feel like Lisa comes through and your grandmother, and she's like, see, I told you. And I'm just like, were you trying to protect me? And so she gives me this essence of her wanting to make sure that, again, your mom gets hellos and that you know that she's watching over you and your brother and your mom. She doesn't abandon ship. She doesn't run away. And I think her saying abandon ship and running away was a dig at your dad. So I'm listening to how she talks about your dad. And I'm like, no, he's right there. He just didn't feel good. Leave him alone.
Right.
And that's how it feels.
Yeah.
I do. I'll call him a hero to you guys. He was definitely a hero to your mom. So he sings that song, oh, tell me I'm your hero. Like, I don't sing, so like. But you know, the wind beneath my wings. Now that's like the second or third time he's trying to mention birds to me. Do you use birds as a sign? Because now we're Bette Midler, wind beneath my wings. We're going beaches here, right? And then, which is the other sign when that song comes through. It means we're talking about beaches in the water, and it also means we're talking about birds. Birds, eagles, hawks, vultures. That's what he's trying to give me as a sign for you.
I mean, I love owls, and I have
Okay.
one tattooed on my back, and I definitely like affiliate
Owls to him.
A bit,
Okay,
yeah,
so I'm
for
missing it
sure.
all together. I'm going eagles. He's got me in flight. He's showing me
They
hawks.
love birds too, so you got a lot of bird energy here. A lot of
I know, but I read them already. Their people are like old news to me. Your dad is like new people. Like I get to meet him for the first time now, right? Okay, so if I'm going, it's got to be like a vulture bird, and I've got to get my claws out, and I'm going like this. Please take it as me missing the ball on a hawk. Okay. I mean, on the owl, but trying to give you a vulture at the very least. So you use an owl. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm not trying to say that owl is coming down and like, but you know what they do.
Mm-hmm. It's got its claws open on my,
it does, like
on
this.
my back, yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm doing this. It doesn't seem weird when I'm going, what is it with the vulture?
No,
And
it's
like,
literally
okay.
reaching, it's reaching for something.
Yay! Okay. I'm not going to ask you to show your tattoo on TV unless you want to. I would be okay with that.
Maybe another time.
Well, we can make a picture, maybe add it to the end.
Yes,
we'll see. We'll see if we
definitely,
can do that.
definitely.
Okay, cool. And then I already said March, so you cannot say. Can he say March twice? He can. Like it connects with more than one thing. Because I said, do you want to give the?
Oh yeah, it does.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want me to tell you.
It doesn't really matter as long as you get it. It's going to be a birthday, an anniversary, or
his death anniversary and my mom's birthday.
are both March too.
Yeah.
Okay, so his birthday, his death date, and anniversary.
Not his birthday, his death date and
the mom's
my
anniversary.
mom's birthday.
Yes. So it makes sense that he'd want to give it to me twice.
Yeah.
And it's not the 11th.
5th and the 22nd.
Just not the 11th. Oh,
Yeah.
more 22s.
Oh.
Yay. Okay, let me see what else. The shoes. I love that. He's all dressed up. I get that. I'll ask. Did he cross in a hospital?
No.
Did we try to get him to a hospital?
He was in one.
He was in one, came home? Okay. So then he was able to die at home, or were they trying to get him back to the hospital?
Died at home.
Okay. So the hospital admitted him to come home? But because I feel like he's like, well, I could have gone back to the hospital, but we didn't. So there's he kind of throws a blanket over that. Does that make sense?
I don't know how much to tell you.
That's okay.
Yeah, he was in hospice care.
At
They
home.
knew he was going to die.
Right. So
Yeah.
they sent him home knowing he wasn't going to go back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a hospital at home then. They put him in hospice. And then he goes, you're done, Rebecca, with that. And I was like, oh, I am? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be done. He goes, done. And I said, okay, done. But that doesn't mean you or I need it to be done. It means he's done talking about it. So was he the kind that wouldn't talk about being sick, didn't want to talk about being sick? Because he even at first was like, no hospitals, not doing this, not talking about this. So he wanted to keep everything like undercover.
Yeah, in a big way.
Oh.
You told me at the beginning about him saying he could hear me. I couldn't hear the last thing he said to me. It was over the phone. I was in Colorado, and yeah, I couldn't hear
Gotcha.
the last thing he said to me. Yeah.
But he could hear you.
Yeah, he could hear me.
He could hear you.
Yeah.
Even though you couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
You're just daddy's girl. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for coming on and letting me do this.
Thank you.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It really was.
I have so much more I could share, but
Go
yeah.
ahead, share. Tell me some more.
Well, just the sugar coated, the candy coated. He
Yep.
had a big sweet tooth,
Okay,
and he was
okay.
very much. He struggled with addiction, with heroin
Which is why he
addiction.
keeps saying, I'm not perfect,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't tell me
He was
why.
in recovery for my whole life, and
So it wasn't the drinking, it was the drugs.
he had stopped drinking prior to me being born. But my mom definitely felt abandoned by him at certain points from his addiction.
Sure.
And my grandmother was a Holocaust survivor, and so her saying that she, like, you know, the intergenerational trauma and like how that got passed down.
Down
like,
to you.
Yeah, and my mom, and so The candy
Which is
coated
why
thing,
she
though.
said she absolutely cannot have him come through without her watching over you. Being a Holocaust survivor, I'm honored.
Yeah, in a way.
That's another person who I would add, not that I will necessarily remember, but that's like, to me, oh, I just read a hero.
Yeah.
Like, I just read somebody super special.
Yeah. She was a freedom fighter. She also, like, she was Jewish, but she also fought
you should write
against the
books.
resistance. Yeah. It was amazing. But the sugar-coated, the, like, he could put on a face and be really happy and sweet, and he was so funny and fun-loving, but he was deeply, like, depressed and wounded from just a long history of not getting mental health needs met, you know. So I can see that, like, duality that you were talking about in a big
well,
way.
he just doesn't want to say he's a perfect person.
No, yeah.
But if we're going to be on TV, he doesn't want anybody to think anything less of him. I've got the nice shoes on. My clothes look good. This is exactly how it's supposed to happen. He says, be okay.
He used to say, lighten up. That was his thing.
Lighten up.
All the time, my whole life.
So if I'm saying be okay, you can hear
That's what
that
I
as
thought.
lighten up.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
And that's really all he wants to say. Just be okay. So just lighten up then.
Great.
Come on. Just be okay.
Changed.
Just lighten up. Yeah. Well, they have to come through in true personality or you wouldn't know who they were.
Right.
And for him to put on a facade like he did, but to go, yeah, but I'm not perfect, to the point where I had to ask if he drank.
Right.
You know, and just kind of saying, you know, I did my best. And having that be there. And just your looks coming from your grandmother's side, I think it's hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone says my mom and I look alike. Always. Even if they haven't met, they've met her and then they meet me, they're like, oh, you're Nina's daughter, even without,
They just
like,
know it.
they know, yeah. So.
Also, the bit about the bodyguard was just so funny because when I met Nadia as my assistant. I hired Nadia as my assistant like almost 10 years ago.
Okay, there you go.
And when I would have meet and greet lines, Nadia more than once would be like, just
she's the bodyguard. Yeah. Oh, I could so see that. Well, being an assistant is a perfect opportunity to not just be a best friend, but to be a bodyguard.
It's true.
That makes sense.
True. Yeah. And we met on Craigslist. Like, very lucky. I know, right? Like multiple moments.
Okay, just the fact that you guys met on Craigslist makes me like the happiest person in the world right now.
It's a really funny story.
Like, you can't even make that up.
I know.
You can't.
It's not very often that we met on Craigslist ends with a good happy ending.
Well, sometimes they have happy endings. They just don't have like forever happy endings. Like long-term happy endings. Go Craigslist said that. Your dad is just loving that. I just know. Your grandmother's probably like, I'm out, but your dad's like, I'm in. Oh my gosh.
He loved the internet. He loved technology. So I bet he would be into it.
He really does love you. He loves you. He can connect with you. I know he's going to continue to be with us today. I'm definitely going to want to see your tattoo later.
Yes, for sure.
I don't want to stick my nose in, but
Please do.
When you kept saying the raw, I just kept thinking that. I mean, Nadia, you told us on the way over here his name was Conrad.
Yeah.
It just felt to me like that sound felt. I was like that felt like it had to be his name. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to.
That's okay. I will take that from you. I didn't get any C or K sounds.
So it has to be like the first when you get the letters.
I have to because I can't be flippy floppy.
Yeah.
It has to be birthday, death day, anniversary. And then somebody goes, oh, well, that was the day we found out they were sick or the day we moved into the house. I could be like, take that if you want it, but that's not what I see. And I have to feel it inside. But I think that there was a black dog. You said black and gray. What was this dog's name?
Billy was his
it's
dog.
Definitely not Rocky.
Billy. Billy looked like a little husky. He was like a chow mix, like gray and black, with black ears. They were best friends.
So it makes sense that he'd come with his dog for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good like that.
Yeah.
Well, what else, you guys? Anything? Some feedback? I love you. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
We love you. This is just so special to be able to spend time with you, and I just respect your process so much and what you offer people, and the peace and healing and the lasting effects are now something I've been able to experience. The peace that's brought me weeks, months afterward. I mean, it was months ago, right?
Yeah.
And I still feel like it's paying dividends. Like, it's just incredible. And I know Nadia's going to have the same
Yes.
experience. And it's just really special. And Nadia, thank you for letting us be here for this.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you
Are
so
you
much,
kidding me? You
Rebecca.
came on my show. Thank you.
I
This is
love
awesome.
it. This is amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
and you know, friends for life. That's
Yeah,
all I
friends
can
forever.
say.
For
You
sure.
guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Messages from Heaven. We will see you again next month, Wednesday night, 7:30. Take care.